get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Party in the city where the heat is on all night on the beach till the break of dawn.
Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
Bouncing in the club where the heat is on all night on the beach till the break of dawn. I'm going to Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
Miami. South Beach, bring the heat. Can y'all feel that? Can y'all feel that? Check it out.
It's always the most difficult question to answer is who you are. And that was for a long time a question I tried to answer. Who is Sasha Riess? Is that only my name? Or it's something more behind that story of who really I am? But if I look a little deeper behind the name, would be a hidden little boy, sad, alone, abandoned, and trying to find his place under the sky in this world. And oftentimes the best place to land would be in the arms of the dog. Safe, quiet, place of acceptance, not judgmental, and peaceful. And everything starts from there. Who am I? Who is Sasha Riess? So it's a journey of 30 years trying to answer that question. But everything started to unfold one day when I actually realized that freedom of one lays between the boundaries of his destiny. And welcome everyone. A new Monday, a new episode of our live series that's happening here, named Grooming with a Positive Mental Attitude. And today's topics is very interesting one. It was really like intention-driven topic named Meet the Most Important Living Person. So we all know that if there is no me, there is nothing I can do. I can't be in service. I can't love. I can't be loved. I can't do anything to the people I love if there is no me. So if we want to talk about the most important living person today, in every single one of us, that person lives. And the most important task of our life would be to meet the most important living person of our life. Looking for the I-ness, trying to in tune with what I really is, and how should I discover I? How should I discover myself? Who am I? How should I start that forever research process if trying to understand who I am, why I'm here? What have I done so far with all of these resources I have, and what I'm going to do in time to come? So that's the most important philosophical question of every single life of ours, mine, yours, and everyone else's. The sad part of everything would be, and oftentimes comes, that we don't meet that person during our lifetime. We don't know what's beyond that point where there is no any more life. Is there any, is this a path to salvation and there is forever research for the peace and heavenness after that moment when we die? Or there is a new reborn process of reincarnation? Whatever we choose to believe, there is some sort of transformation into new. But who knows? And what if this is the only thing we have? What if everything comes to its end and this is what we had? What if this is it? So that's a very important question to be considered as soon as possible. Oftentimes comes to be questioned in the middle age, but because oftentimes we are kind of evaluating what have we done so far. Why it's very important for every single groomer or every single dog professional to be in tune with answering those questions is because living next to the animals, we are somehow, as my beautiful friend Jane told me just a couple of minutes ago on the phone call, we all vibrate on the very fine tuning frequencies that we hear this beautiful world of silence of the how do we communicate with the animals, how do we listen the words beyond the words, the intention beyond the words, the emotions beyond the words. How do we listen this silence? And then when we turn in this everyday life of ours, we somehow got lost because we don't in tune with like-minded people, because the other people don't hear that silence. And then in order to describe them, this amazing world that do exist there, somehow we, instead of inspiring them to look for this silence, we got mad at them because they don't hear it. So there, I think today I would love to share the story of mine. So I would love to share the story of mine, how all of this actually happened in my life. So I started to look in deeper understanding to meet the most important living person in my life. For a long time, I was thinking it's someone else that I need to impress. My parents, my mother, my father, my schoolmates, my classmates, my clients, but where myself was missing all of these years. And how's this journey of self-discovering, self-realization, and self-expression actually started? It's something that I would love to share with you now. And then I will slowly kind of move into the this idea of how all of this can be developed, because it is a craft on its own to understand that the same way we learn how to groom dogs, how to handle the dogs, how to communicate with the dogs, the same way we develop this craft type of the skills that we need to have in order to execute our job properly, we can learn how to develop a positive mental attitude, or how to nourish the most important living person, how to cherish that life that we got for free, for nothing. The most important thing we are living now is our life. That's what counts. And how are we going to succeed in putting it in use to the others without feeling used? So that's a paradox. We need to service the others, yet at the same time we need to feel joy and happiness and fulfillment through the service, without feeling that grief and that burden of, oh my God, the entire world is using me and abusing me, and I don't know how to fit in this world because everyone is against me. And kind of the beautiful way of of the idea would be like, don't blame don't to blame God for our failures, but to give all the credit for our success. Thank you. The gratitude for the life should be a path of self-discovery. When I become grateful for what I have, the life on its own, just in pureness, then I become grateful for the biggest source of my existence. It's a life on its own. And from there, all the blossom comes. But the problem of blooming these wonderful fruits of our abundance comes if we do not appreciate the roots. From where do we come from? And the most important word, like a sentence that helped me understood my path, or question my path all the time, and then I say, how you make a dog grooming be your service to the world. I love dogs, but if I love dogs and I groom dogs and I enjoy grooming dogs, isn't that service to myself? How do I penetrate that my need of dealing with dogs in and put that in service of the people that I don't usually agree with, I don't usually like, because they don't bathe the dogs, they abuse the dogs, they have all of these crazy ideas of how the dog should be nourished, loved, and trained, or whatever we need to do with the dogs. But how I let them, their destiny, and somehow finally in tuned with what I love to do, to put it in service of the others. So I'm going to share now my story of how did I start questioning all of these important topics that I'm sharing with you through this series. So Beltran, if you can get our pictures now on, so I'll kind of go through the slides a little to explain like what and how everything of this is going on. Okay, so just a question. So just yeah, that's okay. Okay, just a second here. That's it. So there we go. So I was putting Sasha Riess as my brand. My real name is Sasha Pavlovich Riess. My father's surname was Pavlovich, and my mother's surname was Riess. So somehow, raising up and growing up, I had a really difficult time living and understanding the language of my father. And that was my biggest life obstacle, allowing my father to be the father the way he is without me expecting him to be the way I wanted him to be. And then I had my idea of which kind of father I would love to have. And he was, from the perspective of his life, and me knowing now as a father, that you always try to do your best, no matter how that ends up being. So if you would ask my son about his father, he would probably have his own opinion and starting to lay out every single thing what makes me be fail as a father figure in his life. But if you would ask me, I always did everything with the pureness of my heart, intention of pure love. So the moment I started to have that gap in between relationship of myself and my son, I actually turned back to my father, trying to see how would I feel now if I would look at him from the perspective of the father and the father. So my career started of me erasing my father from my life by adding the surname of my mother and my grandmother to my brand. So the Sasha Riess become not only my brand but my life identity. So it's not only become my name but become my burden on its own. And that is how the journey of me trying to research of who really I am started, who really Sasha Riess is. What is my name and what is transcending my name? And that is actually when I started to think about that, so we can move on now with another picture. It's that Sasha Riess was trying to find his place next to the dogs. And I was just becoming a world renowned handler, show dog handler, because I just didn't want to, groom these beautiful dogs and then like lend them to the clients so they would take them in the ring and destroy all I did. So everyone that shows dogs knows that when you groom them perfectly and then you have a handler that doesn't care about how the top knot of the poodle stays and how you really present the dog in that 5 minutes as you have, presenting these show dogs in the ring, that I was actually telling myself, you can't be only a groomer. You need to be entire. You need to add entire picture to that. So I started to, give my intention to the show world and success of the show dogs. As I was doing that, now I can, I distance myself now because I'm not anymore in service of the show dogs. But what I do now is actually I have that the time distance and emotional distance from that events, and I can now observe it as observer of my own career and my own time spent next to the dog. So as I found next to the dogs very safe place and safe environment, for me it was very important to share that entire passion of mine with the dogs, and I wanted with the world. And I wanted to show that those dogs mean so much to me that I'd want to put them as high as possible on the podiums and the trophies to be award them as with the trophies as much as possible. So that was my inner realization of me wanting to deal with the dogs and present the dogs in a form what the dogs really mean to my life. As I was also a stage, opera singer, that was my hobby, and then turned to be my passion, and then turned to be just actually pet to my baby mama and my ex-wife, the mother of my kids, because we met in the theater And then actually, you never know how the God operates to put you on the path of the destiny. I happened to fell in love in this beautiful singer in a stage of Novi Sad, and then I later on I married her, and then later, even little later than no little before that, we kind of had a little girl on its way. So then that's how my Sarah was born. Later on, my son was born, and when that little events of beautiful life events were done, slowly our path of me and my wife together, started to remerge, go different directions. And then we were young and we did all up to the best of our abilities at that point. But what I wanted to, the point here is, when you are living in theater, then you know that actually the most important thing of raising your career high is know when to step down. Know when to step down is the most important. The more important is to know when to retire than how you're gonna develop your career. Because if you fail to retire on time, if you fail to retire when you are on the highest point of your peak in your career, you won't be remembered in the good fate. For example, you have an amazing opera singers, for example, like John Sutherland, Australian singer, soprano, coloratura, that she was like such an amazing singer that you couldn't listen enough of her. Especially the opera lovers would know whom I'm talking about. The lady had her last performance and she said, "That's it. No more singing." Ovations on that end. She said, this is my, I don't know how there is a word for that, but this is my last show, my last performance. And that was on a peak of her career. And she went away and was remembered as the most amazing coloratura soprano ever lived. Where actually on the other side, you have such an amazing stories, like for example Maria Callas, the amazing career, yet too much emotional and drama and exposed and love. And do I, if you really like drama and nice emotional events, like go look once wonderful movie named Maria by Callas, and her own questioning credential of becoming such a big, amazing, enormously great opera singer of all time, yet questioning, am I fulfilling my destiny? Or I'm doing this great because my mom was forcing me to sing 10 hours a day when I was age of 13. Am I fulfilling my dream and my destiny, or I'm fulfilling a dream of my mother? Because if you are really great at something, you can make it be the world stage quality performance, but yet feeling enormously emptiness. Not only Callas. Remember the great Amy Winehouse, the beautiful Michael Jackson, the what's his name, like this comic guy, Robin Williams. All beautiful, enormously great careers that we all were raised next by, yet empty, not fulfilled, and questioning the destiny and the purpose of life. So once I did this, I said to myself, yeah, this is it. And what was it? It was a Milano World Dog Show 2015 when I said, this is it, my last show, and I'm done. I won a world winner with this little nice black toy poodle that you see on the right side. And after that, I retired. That was my last show, and I never ever attended any show after that. And I moved on. My next performance, I already started to teach, so we can move on to the next slide. So I already started to teach. My first online classes were done like 10 years ago. When I was for this kind of events that you now pay a couple of hundreds of dollars maybe to make them, to have a platform, to have an access to the good sources, nice cameras and things like that. 10 years ago, in order to have nice, how can I say, a good online class, I needed to pay thousands of dollars per show. Not even worth of money. but word of starting to, starting to begin the cutting edge of moving on. So I knew, and my first course that I actually developed was so-called the Passionate Poodle course that was actually launched like 2012. And when what actually brought me to such an amazing and incredible peoples that are we on the next slide too with these people? Is there? I just don't see. I don't have an update to this. Uh, I don't see the picture, so I don't know. Are you watching the pictures where I'm, having fun with my students? Oh, okay. So there you go. Yeah, now the third. Yeah. So the Passionate Pool course was a course launched like 2012, and it was like amazingly big success and huge success. I think over time it was like maybe uh, back then I had an amazing contact with maybe 50 students taking it online because it was expensive, because the production of the course was expensive, but also launched me on completely another level. So it was a beginning of new adventure. Once I closed my entire world, I opened another. So there were the baby steps in 2012, but until 2015, when I retired from the show grooming and the show world, I was already taking a big leaps on moving on with the teaching. So I coached all over the globe, have hundreds of thousands of audience students sign up for my little short long product like seminars, things like hundreds of thousands of people reached through the sharing of what I just told to you, how you can raise the perfect show dog and how you can make a perfect show-minded dog that's not maybe so great in a conformation world wise, like when you touch this, it's not so great, the front is not so great, the back is not so. And I take a responsibility now when I said like I made the champions dogs that were actually having a disqualification fault in them, having 5 teeth in the mouth. And that was a big responsibility, maybe big mistake if I would challenge my moral activities now back then. But again, I was doing what the dogs did like to do because they enjoyed the show so much, they performed so much, and it was so easy to cheat because we were cheating both. I was cheating, dog was cheating, and the judge was enjoying his little show with us. So then, once that's done, I was just kind of, now we can move next. Now I was just, that launched me and opened completely new world to me. And I was starting now to monetize on the brand, Sasha Riess. We started to do the revolutionary shampoos, conditioners. I had a great partner helping me putting all of that together. I always, in my mind and prayers, give a lot of gratefulness and thankfulness to them, even though we split, like a paths after a while because maybe it was too long to become successful. But as I said in our last conversation, I'll never stop until I won't make it. It might take lifetime, it might take 2 lifetimes, but I never stop, and I will be sure that it never stops. So after that, we kind of, but you see how the design was pretty corporate and pretty much self-centric. Like Sasha Riess is making the shampoo and the conditioner, so it was not in service of the market, even though they were great. But if you understand like little more of we are just going to something that we are going just to approach, you're gonna see that behind this design and this brand is something that's kind of me in service of Ines, not me as discovering the Ines and then radiating the Ines outside of me in service and in behalf of the other people. And then the success and the result and the money actually comes as a result. The more service we put out, but good service that will be joyful and help a happiness way of our exploring the everything that we do, the people gonna respond to that, and then they're gonna want to buy in our story, but they don't want to buy us. That becomes a problem. If you sell yourself, then we kind of, yeah, that's the right word would be prostitute yourself. And then if the people want to buy a piece of me, then I feel used and abused. But if I tell the story with my products and with my courses and with my lectures, and then the people get inspired through exhibitioning on my I-ness to help people and inspire them to look for their I-ness, and then let them radiate their story, and they later on by saying telling gratitude, because that is how it goes. If you fail to give a gratitude to your parents, to your teachers, to every single one, no matter how, what was he, so if he wouldn't be hard on you, you wouldn't move on, or you wouldn't make yourself become who you are if you wouldn't deal with those people. So every single teacher is important. Every single interaction, every single past love that we have is important, because it's past. And now we need to build a new self, including that past. And that's who we are. And that past is integrable or integrity part of who we are now. And if we deny existence of anything or blame anything or bitch on anything, we're going to pay the price. The next one that's coming must be worse than it was one before. So if we really want to divorce, if we really want to, end a relationship that we don't enjoy anymore, or the other one is not enjoying it anymore with us, we need to bless that path. We need to bless that person, because they help us become who we are. So nourished us enough that we will become a better person for the another one that's coming our way. I love you as you are, and I let you go so I can go. And then we can move on. And then we started to research something else. Now, next slide will be about the Sasha Riess, but completely a different way of Sasha Riess. When I started, this Tito was my sacred guide. So this dog was, you see, out from all of those show dogs, I'm now entering my area where I was actually, after I got this dog from his relative to one of my dogs that I have lived with me. This is a Tito. He's a grandson of Anna, and Anna was my great dog that I live with. But you see, it's not there is no show dog anymore. This is my pet. But you see how I act with this dog like I never had a I act with this dog and I live with this dog like I never had I was never a professional dog girl. So I do with this dog everything that is a big no when you have a dog. But I was so fragile at this moment, because it just happened after my breakup with my partner at that time, that I just couldn't stand that loneliness. So I was having that dog to pack this loneliness. What actually happened when we split pets, and that I couldn't deal with that. I was just so selfish that I wanted everything for myself, and I couldn't deal with that loss. But actually, when I met Tito, then I understood how much I emotionally was on that dog, abusing him by selfishly wanting him to forcefully fill the gap that he was not able to do. So this dog became very anxious. He became and I was seeing him suffering, and I was seeing me becoming weaker and weaker and weaker and more weaker and more weaker. And I kind of end up my life, I see my depression becomes more and more, and my inner selfness become like kind of screaming for the help, but yet I maintain that curtain that no one sees nothing, because I'm on a stage, I'm a teacher, I can't do this to my people, to all of them expect from me. And then I actually put myself in service of me, so I don't disappoint people that expect from me. And there was a price of my health, of my mental attitude, and of everything that was happening in my life that time. We can move on. And then happens that I discover the family constellation. That's next slide. The family constellation is something that actually calls us that the life is the way it is because there is a reason for that. I don't know how all of this happened, how out of two cells become all of these that we are doing now. Like you have a mother and you have a father, they love each other or they don't, whatever the reason, however we appear to be here, I don't know. There is no logical explanation of how actually this life happens from nothing. So occasionally, no matter how hard these beliefs we are or atheist we are, no matter how big, like you have a Gustav Jung, like a biggest psychologist lived ever, and he opened this consciousness and family consciousness and collective consciousness and unconsciousness and beliefs and everything. And then the question to him was like, do you believe in God? And he said, there is nothing to believe in. I know the God exists. And then you have all of these people that are scientists on the top of the top, like Mikhailo Pupin and Tesla, and you have Emerson, and you want to go philosophy or you want to physics, you want to go wherever you go, you will find every single one of them like there is the edge of the universe. I reached that point, and now I don't question anymore God's existence. It's there. And it's not said by some priest or some, someone that kind of, oh, it's religion, oh, no, it's said by the Nikola Tesla. It's said by Mikhailo Pupin. It says by what's the name of the guy that Tesla was again, like they were fighting, like the guy with the balls, with the light ball. What's his name? Like Thomas Edison. They all said like all of this, what's happening is just God working through us. And that is where we go, like biggest sin would be not allowing God to work through us, to use us as a tool in service to the other people. So once I discovered this path of understanding who am I, where I am rooted, who is my family, my father and my mother. They said like the family constellation thing that I'm now the therapist. So I'm now working as a family constellation therapist to the groomers that have all kind of, every single thing, no matter every single disease from flu till the cancer, every single thing has every single disease is psychosomatic. It's not some voodoo telling, and no matter which kind of new age, whatever, wherever you go, every single, no matter how big doctor you want to talk to, every single one would let you know that whatever we do to our mind will be done to our body. Whatever we do to our body will lead to immune response of that body to the circumstances that the body is exposed. How come that some, get infected, the other ones don't? Someone get cancer, the other ones don't. Someone eat poisonous food and they don't get poisoned, the other one eat poisonous food, they get poisoned. How that happens? Every single disease, from the flu till and before flu, any single cough or cold, whatever, everything in between that range is a psychosomatic. And all the doctors and psychologists agree in that one thing. So when I said like, who am I? The question always needs to lead to roots, discovering the roots of who am I. How did I become I? Who am I? My root, if I would be a tree, seed of me would fall off the tree that was blossoming the apples before me. And I would be, that little apple will be maybe, there will be a flower of the apple, and then the fruit of the apple, and then the fruit will fall off on ground, and then some bird will come and eat those seeds and take it somewhere else on the other part of the world, then digest and do her little thing, and that seed will start leaving the new roots. The important thing would be that out from that little seed, nothing else can become rather than another apple. So the most important step over in my life was understanding these family constellation rules, that actually it says the freedom of one lays between the boundaries of its destiny.
So if I want to be free, the freedom is pretty much organized place, and we can understand the freedom by understanding the boundaries that we can be free inside of. Because if there is no boundaries, there is a chaos. We can always expand the level of boundaries, and we can always expand them, push them beyond and beyond, and make the place we want to interact with bigger and bigger, and take those boundaries into infinity. But they will always be within our destiny. And if we do agree to that, and we say, yes, this is what my life is, this is who I am, this is who is my father, and this is who is my mother, no matter which kind of parents they are. If I blame them, as I did to my father for a long time, oh, if he would be like this, if he would be like that, if I would have a father like my friend has, he was always the most amazing father in the school, and when he was coming, he was always so nicely dressed, and he was so kind to everyone. And my God, and look at my father, like he's always some not so nicely dressed, and so oftentimes I was really ashamed. Unfortunately, I'm so hard, and I always, when I go to confess in church, I always tell, oh my God, that's one of my big sins now, when I understand how the really life operates. And what calms my mind is to confess that I was ashamed of my father. But then I was, at the same time, by being ashamed of him, I was ashamed of myself. The people would ask me in the beginning of our school, when I vividly remember that time. I was maybe only 8 years old, when the people would ask me like, oh, where is your father? Who is picking you up from the school? And I would say, I don't see him. But actually he was waiting me outside the school. So my best friend at that time, we just knew ourselves like for a couple of days, met my father later on, and he said like, I was thinking he was there, but you didn't saw him. Actually, deeply in myself was, yeah, I saw him, but I just was ashamed of his appearance. It's not how I imagined my father. So that led me, of 35 years of my disappointment through the life, was questioning my father. And then later he was very tough to me, because that is how he was thinking the boys should be raised. And then I kind of took a long time while I didn't understand actually that I am my father. I am ashamed of who I am. And that is what I need to work on. And I need to understand that everything he did to me is price that I don't need to pay for. There is the God is the one that needs to come, and we all need to come there. And one time we'll all go there, and he'll ask what was you doing in your life, and how good father you was to your kids. And then he'll gonna answer the questions. But it's not me who need to pay the price, if there is any price to be paid then. What will prevent me from being who I am is discovering who I am, self-discovery of who I am. And if I don't say yes to my father, I would never say yes to me. The mother in our life has a metaphoric connection with the earth. So the mother is the earth, and whatever seed we plant, it will bloom. If we plant nice corn, if we plant nice flour, but also if we plant dead mushrooms, if we plant some poisonous tree or fruit, everything will bloom, because the mother doesn't care. The mother loves the kids as they are. And that is what the people say in the family constellation things. One of the most important understandings of how the life operates is the success have a face of the mother. So if you would need to be asked, how do you feel about your success? And then how do you feel about your success and what the success does mean to you? Lay down the ideas of what do you feel about towards your success at the moment, and then lay down the feelings towards your mother. And obviously, oftentimes mine, when I did that practice, actually turned out to be, yes, everything I experience as my success is exactly what I experienced in relationship with my mother. The feelings I have towards her, the ideas of what I have, what I'm finding wrong is with her, and we are the kids, and then we know everything what's bad with them, and what how great would be if they would just love us, but they do. That's no, if we do understand how the world and universe and God operates, no matter how you're going to call him, then we know that love, our life is proof that unstoppable force of love flows through our parents in us. And that doesn't depend on any will of parents to give it to the child or to take it away from them. No, it flows on its own, like a river flows, and then you can't stop it. You just can't stop it. You can turn it left or right, or you can move it up and down, but you can't stop it. But what we care about is who our parents are. Like they're and when we are babies, what we see in these creatures that gave us a life, we see gods. We see when we open our eyes and then we see mom, and then she brings us, and father, or he's here or he's not here, whatever. It's never to be judged. It's just about we see them as gods. But then as we grow, we learn actually that they're not gods. They're just average people, but the people with their feelings and their destinies and their questions and their suffers and their destinies and inherent way of beliefs and everything. And then everything what they were believing shaped them who they are. But then now I need to shape myself. Who am I? But who am I? And then they said, like, whatever you plant in the earth, that will blossom and that will bloom. So the earth has a metaphor to the mother. And then the father is a light. Father is a sun. So the sun shines on whatever is planted in the world. So we plant a seed of the beautiful flower, and then the sun nourishes that flower, and then the flower blossom. But it's also important that everything has divine timing. Even the Old Testament, talking about Adam and Eve problem, they said, like, there was a garden of Eden, and only one thing was forbidden to them at that time, and it was the fruit of apple. But not forbidden. They said, like, wait for it. Just wait for it. And you probably, we don't know the story because they wanted a now. So actually, not allowing divine moment to happen is a sin on its own, because the God didn't send them. They told them that don't take the apple yet. And then the snake did, and Adam did, and also understanding and unfolding that story, that beautiful metaphoric story about also how we pursue the sins. It's if we do something wrong, and it's not, and then the next failure, once they took an apple, then the next failure was, oh, it wasn't me. The Adam said it was Eve, and then she said, oh, it's not me, it's snake. So, and then blaming and not taking responsibility for no matter how wrong actions, that makes us be even weaker and become more fragile, and we become more unaware of real power that we do have in this life. So it's one way to make whatever is wrong, but the other way is making someone else blaming for that our wrong mistakes and our wrong actions. Don't blame God for your wrong actions, but also give him all the credit for what we did great. And then look how the life is unfolding. So once I discovered this family constellation thing and I started to work with my parents, the most important, easiest task you can do now, today, when you are done with this video watching, no matter which kind of relationship you have with your parents, or are they still around or they are not around, like, just write them the letter. Write them the nicest letter you would write to your parents, no matter what do you think about them. Write to your parents, but to their sacredness. Write the letter to your father and write a letter to your mother, and just don't send them. You don't need to do them. Once you put them out, it's important to be in writing. Don't just mind about that. And then if you get caught in that ideas like, oh my God, I hate them, I would tell this, I would tell that, just wait. Try to allow them to be who they are. And then let them be people with their destinies. And then try to to the point where you will become grateful for that you have this life. And that's all. I have life, you gave me life, I'm gonna do everything else. Thank you for the life. And don't care about anything else. I can do everything else. I can find my person. I can find who I am. I can deal with this. There's so many tactics and so many things that we can come up with and find who we are. There's so many out there. We just need to detach from this blurriness of if they would, then I would. Doesn't go that way. We got a life as a present, and the river of the life always has intention to flow. So how that intention moves on through us is by giving a new life to the birth of the children, or by creation. You have a lot of people that are, change this planet. Like Nikola Tesla, for example, he didn't have children, but he put his life in use to the God's will that flow through him in all what he invented. So we can be a mother. Some mothers are born to be a mothers or grandmothers to the great people that are coming that way. The others will become the great people. So that being a mother of the great people and being a great man or the great woman of this world doesn't make a big difference, because without that mother, the greatness will never become possible. So cherish and try to find a way. Don't just go about, he told me the letter. Don't just do it. And don't write the letter to your parents as the persons. Write it to them like a sacred starting points of all of your achievements. So once I did that, now we can finally go to the next. I'm sorry it took so much on this slide, but that was always what I was here. You see this picture behind. It's all of my parents and families and relatives, my grandparents, So now it comes like what I was always searching there. I was always searching for that pure love and harmony in my life. I was searching to pure love and harmony in my family. I was thinking that my family and the life was not so much, nice and honest to my mother to partner her with my father. So that I was thinking as a child, and then I was blaming her for why she's not just moving away and why she's not protecting me by going away from there. But then now when she passed away, because unfortunately or whatever, I need to appreciate her destiny, and the life wanted us to split the ways 3 weeks ago now. So she's not anymore living. And I miss her from the level of, talking to her and chatting with her and, having her, to call her. But on the other hand, I kind of feel so much connected with her on other level, because she's finally free to go wherever she wants. And I love her. But the most important thing, that through loving her, I learned to love my father. So what I was doing actually with my business, it's not about searching who I am, who the Sasha is. I was searching and I was moving on towards pure love and harmony that I was missing so much. And I was finding it in a dogs. I was finding it next to the dogs, and I wanted to mold my family and to get respected and be wanted and loved by my parents as I was wanted and loved by my dogs I was working for. So actually, the story of my brand become a story of my life. And the story of my life is become the search of pure love and harmony. So the next thing I know, I reshape and redesign entire everything. And now we can move on the next slide, where I actually kind of now redesigned everything that I have to offer. And now our products, it's not anymore Sasha Riess, the shampoo and the conditioner and the this and the me and the best eye and whatever, but becomes something else, becomes pure love and harmony. And we are now taking all of these adjectives that kind of connect people with their relationship with their dogs, but on the same page, they're talking the story of me. Are we on the next page? And they are talking a story of my life. And they're talking a story of who I really am. And then we had this creed, Sasha Riess, towards pure love and harmony. So now, and then we have like a supplements that and then we go transcending everything we do. So for example, like Sasha Riess World, welcome to the Sasha Riess World. What Sasha Riess World is, it's search. And everything we do need to fit a narrative of 2 words, 3 words, pure love and harmony. And then we said, when you use our shampoos, then the coat become great, and then you groom your dogs, and then how come that poodle can be great with our shampoos, and the Shih Tzu can be great, and everything can be great? It's because we transcend the name of the dog and the name of the breed, and then we care about the dog. And once you care about the dog and you clean the coat and then do whatever you do with the coat, it's not the story of this, but that is how this become a shampoo and conditioner. But if you groom your dogs, then the coat tends to be the best possible coat, whatever the breed coat is. So the poodle coat become puffy, and then what's the difference? How you separate, differentiate the use of the shampoo and conditioner for the different breeds? And they would be like I don't know, because how you would differentiate the amount of the flour in different type of the cake or of the bread? And when the people would ask me like how much shampoo I should use to bathe my dog, I said I don't know, as it feel right. And the grandmas would always tell you what the great recipe for the cake would be. I don't know, like put the flour until it feels right. So it's the same with the shampoo. Put it until it feels right. And then we said like how we can make it even better. Then we can't make it better. Make it transcend the betterness and then go into the dog's body and create the body within, so the coat will become happier and healthier. And that is how we ended up creating a bliss collection that is actually supplements collection. But then most likely look at my relationship with the dogs. Next slide please, Beltran. So now whatever I came into is this pure loveness, and everything that we do now is completely away from the trophies. It is away from what I did when I was so professional with the dogs. And now the Sasha Riess is all about a relationship. It's all about this beautiful harmony and the pure loveness that we can feel towards our dog. You can put also the next slide, and then you can put me back to the. So and this is how we, this is a professional photos that we have from the sessions I was doing. But then this next slide would be really photos of our relationship in our shop, the Sasha Riess Signature Salon, that was actually leading us to this beautiful event that we have here in Chicago, that we are opening this wonderful new concept that is all based on the relationship. And what a relationship is, the pure love and harmony. Why? Because that's a search of my life. That is my life. My life is search to find fulfillment. But slowly, as I now talk to you and I relive all of this with you, thank you, Beltran, you can finally get me back. So this little presentation was only about, it's not a little, I talk here like almost an hour about this, everything, my journey of self-discovery. And not a journey only of self-discovery, it was a journey of who am I? But I couldn't find myself until I didn't find my father in myself. And until I didn't find my mother in myself. So once I find my mother and my father in myself, then I can say, okay, this is who I am, and this is my base. My father was very hard to me, and then he was, I remember my childhood was all in pain, physically, emotionally. But now when the time distance and I see him as in my heart, because that's my father, not a person who my father was. By the way, look at him. Like, I think I didn't give this to Beltran, but maybe the camera can show. This is me and my father. Maybe it's, I don't know, is it seen good? But yeah, let's say this is my father, and he's holding me on some little rock, and I'm kind of, putting my hands up. So there is a memory before memory, but I don't recall this little picture, but it's there. It's there. So when I find him in my heart, then I was just kind of understanding that I am my father and I am my mother. But then with them in my heart, I can become who I really want to become. I don't need to keep repeating their destiny. And you know how you repeat the destinies? Is by denying. Whatever we deny becomes shadow of ours. When the shadow grows, the more light we want to put on ourselves, the biggest the shadow becomes. So more I wanted to appear to the beautiful shiny reflectors and this beautiful red light on this camera while I'm doing lives. More I wanted to do that, more my shadow was eating me from inside. What was my shadow? My shadow was my father. So now I love him as a source of my life. I love him as someone that gave me all of laid the path to these possibilities. And now when I let him be who he is, finally I don't need to become him. He lives peacefully in me, and I'm finally content. I don't want to change him because he has the right to be who he is. And if the time comes, if he needs to answer some questions, it's his to do. And what often people would love, kids especially would love, like I wanted to protect my mother. So more I wanted to protect my mother, more against my father I was. And then I become later angry on my mother. Why I need to protect her, why she's not enough strong to protect herself. But then who am I to interfere with her destiny? She loved him. Now when she died, he cries so much, and he misses her so much that I'm kind of shocked that he took it so hard. And that, but I'm kind of Orthodox Christian religious believer, and I also have a lot of knowledge from the philosophy, and then I researched. I have completely pure attention of the life and connection with the life, that I understand that death as an integral part of the life is a death as well. And you can't separate life from death. But the moment we stand in front of the life and we face the end of the life by seeing the death, and I'm seeing the death, and I say, yes, I'm coming towards you, but not yet. There is so much more to be done that I don't have time to fear you. Because more we are afraid of death, less of the life we will have. And especially more, but very important for this time that we are living now. We all got scared that we're gonna die. Well, I'm sorry to say, yeah, we're gonna die. When? No one knows. But not before time comes. no one lived any second longer than it's meant to be. And then it can be a accident, it can be just heart attack, it can be a COVID, it can be a whatever it can be. And what we are actually afraid, we are not so, the psychologists doubt that thing, that we are not afraid of death as we are afraid of dying. So how that dying process looks like. Do I need to become so sick that I'm kind of just, my body just rotten and then I just die? The Indian yogic, for example, they said like there is a two-way to die. Like the soul need to leave the body. And when the time comes, there is two ways to be done. And in Indian culture, you have so-called Mahasamadhi, because the conscious living include very conscious way of understanding the life. And in India, they claim that they know what their purpose is and what they can feel that everything is done at a certain time. So a lot of big gurus were claiming and telling that, yeah, like the teacher I follow, like transcendental meditation, and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of, and the guy, the teacher that was, bringing transcendental meditation to the West. And he said, when time comes, I think it was 2008, he said, like, my work on this world is done. And I'm going, and he sent a letter to all of his disciples, the top ones, and the movement, and he said, I'm done. And then in 2 days he died in a so-called conscious dying, Mahasamadhi. So what it says is that actually the vibration of the energy of the soul and spirit is so high, so they raised that energy level consciously, that the soul separates from the body, because the body can't sustain it anymore. So the consciously in tuned into raising level, vibrational level of the frequency, that will actually let a soul be able to separate from the body. So until the soul and the body are in tuned, there is a life. When the soul moves out, there is death. So they said it can be done two ways: consciously, by releasing a soul from the body, raising a vibration, and then the body can't hold it anymore and release the soul to go, and body dies. Or the other way around is to make a body become so weak that the body is weak and the soul is vibrating on the other level, and then the frequency. So the body weakens and the soul leaves. Both ways are done in the same way. So either is some stress, high impact stress that kills that vibration of the body, like accident of any kind. But when the time comes, we are gone. And more we say yes to death, to the end, more sooner we say yes to whatever is coming. There is some sacredness in that process. There is some sacredness in death. And by understanding that, the sooner we understand that, faster, the sooner we're going to start living. Because we are not actually afraid of dying. We are afraid of, that process of dying, how that's going to happen. I don't know, but I'm going to do everything that even that process of dying going to be my service to this life. So don't forget about, this is kind of a little, I went over like 5 minutes, 15 minutes more than I wanted. So I'm sorry for that, but I think maybe it was a very good content. I like how I feel about all of this. So I hope you share everything that goes here. So we are in a must of learning about who the most important living person of our life is. It's not our parents, it's not our family, it's not relatives, it's not the president, it's not a client. No one is more important living person than you. Or actually, if I say, there is no important living person than me in my life. Discover who you are by going to the root of your life. See Why are we born in this world, in this environment, in this family, and then see where the life was pushing us? And aren't we maybe doing all of this? Like Maria Callas said, I couldn't escape a cow, a calms. I think the eagle have those, or the Beltran. How do you call those claws?
Oh,
Claws.
yeah.
Claws.
Oh,
I couldn't escape the claws of my mother. And that is what I put entire my life into. I become an opera singer. That you can learn in a movie called Maria by Callas. So the Callas family mold Maria who she became. And then she ended up tragically by dying of a heart attack, I think. But when every single time the heart is involved in a process of dying, sends the picture again that no matter which disease we suffer from, every single disease from the flu till the cancer, everything in between is a psychosomatic, is created from within. And whatever we create, there is a lot of books on that, like a disease as a pet, the hidden messages of the disease, like how can I discover? But every single heart, when the heart is involved in any single thing, it's a lack of joyful life. It's lack of love. It's a lack of feeling loved. And why? It's because we fail to come to the source of love. No one can love us more than once that we get through this life. As Jesus said, like, no one likes me like my Father. There is a source of our life, but we deny. For example, my mom and my dad, they were raised without fathers, so they were missing fathers. One was died, both of them died when they were young kids, and they never experienced having a father. So from their perspective, what was my problem with the father? I had him. So the source of our love, and we're gonna talk about that more in time to come, because I know that is why we all turn to the dogs. To find safe, to find protected, to find loved, because we didn't experience it, or our deeper soul didn't experience it by growing it up. So somehow and some why we grew up feeling lonely, misunderstood, and abandoned. And the dogs were great substitute. But it's not fair enough towards our life to leave it like that forever. It's okay until certain time, until we do not become much stronger and much life aware of. And when we do understand how the life operates, then we need to open our heart by having a heart that is soft as a cotton, and then freeze our emotions so we can make a good decisions every single time that are not emotionally impacted. Because wherever you turn, no matter which book you read, every single one's talking about emotions is a devil's playground, because our emotions depend on a lot of things, but the heart always knows the best. What we do in opposite, we play with these emotions. I'm super excited, I'm great, everything is wonderful, life is joyful, everything is great, but the heart is frozen. So my heart is frozen, and I think that this colorful life I painted around myself is actually going to make me happy. But more the time goes, more I see that's not how the happiness is achieved. Happiness is a feeling within and doesn't depend on nothing. Doesn't depend on how much money I have, how many dogs I groom, how many trophies I have, who is my partner. Doesn't depend on nothing of that. Yet, through everything of that is achievable, and it is to be achieved, but it doesn't depend on that. Because everything of that is just outer, it's expression and reflection of our innerness. It's a mirror of who we really are. It's which kind of people we interact with. Your mind is invisible talisman that can turn your life upside down only based on one characteristic of its mental attitude. And how is mental attitude to be developed? Through the I-ness, through the understanding how important I am to myself, and how important is for me to understand how I become I, and then give the credit where the credit does belong. And it belongs to your teachers of all kind, chronologically, to your parents first, because we have life. To do with it whatever we want. Whatever we want. Yet because of some strange, deeper, stronger resistance, we can actually stronger like a something holding us, that we resist to enjoy the life in its fullness. And we turn back and to say what was, now I'm reading my messages to my mother. I can send them, and I'm writing her, not in my mind still, but I don't have, I'm still not so brave to write her a letter, by knowing I won't be able to deliver to her. So I talk to her in my mind and prayers, and when I kind of get into the sleep in the morning when I wake up. But the most important thing is actually that I wanted to tell her I love you. And when I read the messages, I was texting her all the time for the Mother Days, and when I get a chance, I don't feel that maybe I wasn't good enough and good son enough to tell her I love you. And to my father as well, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And more I say I love you as you are, more my father, more my heart defrost. And then when finally defrosted, everyone had a chance to be who he or she or they, them is or are. So don't blame God for anything that goes wrong, but give him all the credit. Don't claim the credit when something goes good. Give him the credit that he was using you as a tool to perform, because he can do it without you. He can do it with us. But then claim the credit only for being strong and brave enough to let the God talk the story through you. But take responsibility when it doesn't go good. Don't blame God for that. Every single adversity has its own equivalent or greater benefits. So don't blame the life if something goes wrong. It's always for the purpose. It's not that we didn't develop, ended up relationship when we needed to. As I said, you move away from the relationship, or moved away from the place, or moved away from the career where you feel you are on top, and you can't find something more to give to that relationship, no matter is it with the clients or with whatever makes you feel stuck in a ball. Push a little harder, put yourself on the top and move on. Where? I don't know. Some new horizon will unfold immediately. So whenever you want to move on from something that's include a relationship, move away from it when it's the most sweetest. That's how you're going to remember it nicely. Or if you didn't do that, but you feel like, because there is one, the sweetest thing is high, and if you can remember how sweet it was, then our relationship is already declining. Try to push it back. Work hard for your relationship. It's not easy to find a partner today. Cherish everyone you have next to you. Try to change your heart by allowing them to be who they are. Accept the priceless gift of the life is to have the life. and find the joy in everything you do. Or if you are not enjoying it, ask yourself why you're still doing it. Why you're still doing it? Because it's missing I-ness. I would never force you to do it, something that you are not meant to do. Never underestimate the repellent power of the negative mental attitude. It prevents life. Every single time that you say, but, he is great, but, try it for a week. So there is a couple of tasks that you can take out from this class. Do your homework, but homework, it's not a homework, it's something that every one of us should be doing on a regular daily basis. Writing letter to your parents. Write it nicely, make it a fairy tale. If it's hard, push it forward, push it harder. Come to the point where you was baby, where your father was holding you like this. If he was not holding you like that, there must be a reason. Accept it. You have a life. You can make it. It's enough. And try to joyfully write those letters back to them. You don't need to send them. It will be delivered in a heart. You can profit for disappointments. From any disappointment you have in life, you can profit. You know that we were always the most creative ones when everything else around us fell apart. That's when the people are more creative. People are sometimes more creative when they are weak and disappointed and on the ground, forced next to the wall. That's when the creativity starts, because that is when we feel like there is nothing to lose. There is nothing to lose. That's true. There is nothing to lose. Once you understand that there is nothing to lose, you can fight for everything you believe in. It's belong to you. Claim the life. Don't be afraid of dying. We're going to die anyhow. But soon we face a dying as an outcome of our life. Sooner we're going to become claiming everything that we can in this life that we can be in service to. More we give out, more it will come back. But need to be through the joy. I can't be forced to do this. It's a very easy formula, but I can't do it hatefully. And the only thing that will differentiate the success and outcome of that, it's not a performance. It's a mental attitude that the performance is performed in. Either positive or the negative. Keep working. Don't stop. Being positive and having a positive mental attitude in the world as we live now is challenging. But you know what? On the other side, it's very easy, because you don't need to go positive too much in order to see completely other perspective of the life. You need to go now, because everything is so downward. Everyone is afraid of everything here. You just need to see a light on the end of the tunnel. But where to look? I don't know. Don't look outside. Look within. That's always in light. Your father is the metaphor of the father is a sun. The sun of our life is always lighting the right path we need to go. But we can't see the light because we blame our father or our mother, whatever. But then if we blame our mother, on the other side, if we have a problem with the mother, relationship with the mother will always prevent us from enjoying the life and feeling the blossom of the life showering our. Why? Because that's in metaphor of seeding and planting everything in the earth. Whatever is planted in the mother it will blossom and it will grow. But it can grow a beautiful flower that we can organize in the gorgeous garden, or it can be garden and then we can just forget about that, and then the all kind of grass will grow over that. Think about that. The most important living person is you. Or if I'm saying it, the most important living person in my life is me. If there is no me, there is nothing I can do. And because there is me, there is still more to do. And I need to do the best as I can, because I never know when my time is to go. And I don't want to go disappointed that I had a chance, I had a life, but I blamed everyone that I didn't do it. I can still do it, but I need to come back and do this thing to be thankful. Thankful to the life and all the possibilities that arise from that. I'm going to leave you there for tonight. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share this little story of mine. I hope I inspired something. I provoked something, so my different thoughts, some emotions, some heartbeats or tears. Just don't let it go away. Work on that. And try to understand that no matter how hard we work, we can do it harder. Push it harder right way, and then suddenly it will become a joyful path. See you next Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, at the same place, with a new topic on this beautiful live stream Facebook series, Grooming with a Positive Mental Attitude. Thank you so much. God bless you all, and see you next Monday. Enjoy the life. Bye.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll